Tonight, Ottawa expressing optimism about where trade talks stand between Canada and the United States.
We think there is an option of striking a deal that will bring down some of these tariffs.
When the Prime Minister is expected to speak with the President.
Yes, we will come to something with the Americans, something constructive with the Americans.
And revelations from a top American trade official on why Canada is facing higher tariffs. Calls for aquatic access.
It's a really scary time for swimming and aquatic sports in Canada right now.
How the success of Summer Macintosh at the World Championships is sparking a conversation about public pools. And the pop star putting a Canadian province in the spotlight.
Anything that brings more profile and attention to the province is always a good thing.
Why Chapel Roan's new single is making everyone think about Saskatchewan.
I'm moving to Saskatchewan.
CTV National News with Heather Butts.
Good evening. Canada's Trade Minister is revealing fresh optimism as he says he's prepared to do the work needed to get a deal done, despite leaving Washington without a new agreement last week. Dominic LeBlanc making that statement today on a U.S. talk show. President Trump has said the increased tariffs are due to the flow of fentanyl, but as CTV's Colton Prale reports, a top American trade official is offering a different reason.
Donald Trump says fentanyl trafficking is the reason goods leaving this port for the United States now face a 35% tariff. But according to his trade ambassador, that's not the only reason.
Canada retaliated. The only other country in the world who retaliated on tariffs was the Chinese.
Canada's counter tariffs were announced under Justin Trudeau and target $60 billion of American goods, including steel and aluminum. Mark Carney hasn't increased them, but he also isn't dropping them.
The national security interest of Canada requires that we have a viable steel and aluminum sector.
Trump has threatened to increase tariffs if Canada retaliates again. Carney said he was ready to bring in more counter tariffs August 1st if there was no deal, but didn't do so.
There's the political elbows up view on this, and then there's the practical view, and these tariffs are effectively taxes being paid by Canadians.
Today, the Prime Minister reiterating counter tariffs aren't his focus.
Building in a Canadian way, building sustainably, building together, building positively, and that's what we're going to do. And yes, we will we'll come to something with the Americans, something constructive with the Americans.
But with multiple deadlines to get a deal done now come and gone, some are questioning just how far off an agreement really is.
I would describe it as no man's land in terms of figuring out how we get these negotiations to some sort of a mutually beneficial conclusion.
A recent report from the Royal Bank of Canada says Trump's increased 35% tariffs are not expected to significantly alter Canada's economic outlook. Dominic LeBlanc also says the Prime Minister and President will likely speak over the next number of days. Trump claims Carney called him on Thursday, but the two never spoke. Heather.
Colton, thank you. Colton Prale in the nation's capital. The Prime Minister was in Vancouver today, joining many others for the city's Pride Parade. More than 100,000 people lined the streets of Vancouver. Security was ramped up for this year's festival to ensure participants felt safe. Prime Minister Carney walked part of the parade route, stopping to shake hands and chat with people along the way. Fire crews in British Columbia are trying to get the upper hand on dozens of fires raging in the province, including one on Vancouver Island.
BC wildfire firefighters, structural defense personnel, heavy equipment, and aircraft continue 24-hour wildfire operations on the Wesley Ridge wildfire.
That fire has grown to nearly 400 hectares. It's one of more than 140 burning in BC. Thousands have been forced to flee their homes, while many others remain under an evacuation alert, prepared to leave at a moment's notice. Manitoba remains one of the hardest hit provinces, with more than 150 active wildfires still burning. This morning, a First Nation west of Thompson issued an evacuation order due to nearby wildfires.
We've done, the best that we can to evacuate our people. There's still about 2,300 more people that we need to evacuate. There are some people that were evacuated about a month ago, the people from the personal care home, they're still away from our community. I don't know when they'll be allowed to come back.
Smoke from all of those wildfires remains a serious issue across the country and beyond. You can see just how far-reaching all that wildfire smoke has become, stretching from the west coast to the east coast and south over the Midwest and northeastern United States. The smoke has prompted air quality statements or warnings across most of Canada. Montreal is an example tonight of the situation many are dealing with across this country, with people being told to limit their time outdoors. CTV's Christine Long with how people are handling that advice and what they should be watching out for.
For 33 years, the Point Wish softball tournament in Verdun has been raising money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Started off as a really small little tournament, and it's turned into this great big thing all weekend long. We raise upwards of $50,000, $60,000 in a weekend.
With the air quality warning in effect, Professor Jill Baumgartner wishes those players would take it easy.
This might be a day to, avoid those outdoor activities. And
Baumgartner says some people have to be extra careful.
People with pre-existing health conditions, asthma, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, heart disease, as well as pregnant people or young children, they're at very high risks of experiencing health effects of smoke.
Even when the smoke is visible, not everyone is taking it easy outdoors.
We've played through smog, rain, monsoons, mud. People don't want to stop. They just, unless there's lightning, they'll keep playing.
Danger signs to watch out for include
eyes watering, maybe difficulty breathing. Then you need to get out of that polluted air and into a place that has clean air.
Clean air means filtered air indoors, at home, or at a cinema, mall, or library, says Baumgartner. She adds that public health should have stronger messaging during days like these.
It's the same kind of advice that we gave people during the pandemic, which is the way that, you needs to be a tight fitting mask, right? It needs to be an N95 or a KN95 mask.
On the Diamond, no masks today, but people are watching if a timeout needs to be called.
I think you can kind of see it in certain people, particularly people with, breathing issues and stuff, or people who may not think that they have allergies, and you're kind of like, you look like you're a little bit red in the eyes.
I have a little runny nose, but I knew the smog warning was coming in place, and it's a haze, so.
Baumgartner says these smog events are becoming more frequent.
We know that wildfires in Canada, they're more intense, they're lasting for longer. Wildfire season is happening for a longer period of time.
So plan your outdoor activities accordingly. Christine Long, CTV News.
A heart-wrenching situation is taking shape in Toronto, where a faith leader and her 2 young daughters are appealing for help to stay in the country. The family faces a swift deportation to Africa. Now, the city's Kenyan and East African communities are rallying around them. CTV's Rahim Ladani explains.
In the name of Jesus.
With time not on their side, Toronto's Kenyan and East African faith community held an emergency service to support their pastor and her 2 children facing deportation.
I have tried to reach for help from my MP. I'm getting opposition. I'm getting responses that cannot help me right now, and I need help.
God is so good.
Reverend Rosalind Wanyeki, known to many as Reverend Hadassah, came to Canada in 2020 with her now 6-year-old daughter Pearl and 9-year-old daughter Jolene. They say they were forced to flee Kenya to escape persecution from a powerful church leader in Nairobi. Over the past 5.5 years, the family has created a life in Toronto. Wanyeki leads a ministry and her children attend West Hill Public School. However, both their refugee claim and application for permanent residency under humanitarian and compassionate grounds have been denied. They're now scheduled to be deported at the end of the week.
And I've served the community for all those 5 years, and I pray to be safe.
Sad, and I don't want to go back because I like staying in Canada.
CTV News reached out to Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada for comment, but has yet to hear back.
Better days are ahead of you.
Those in the community say Wonyeki is a contributing member to society. She provides emotional support for families, connects newcomers with valuable resources, and is part of a network of Kenyan Canadian pastors.
Providing the cultural appropriate support when it comes to mental health, when it comes to settlement challenges. So what is being taken away from the Kenyan and the broader African community at large is a support system that is actually very needed.
Wonyeki has appealed the decision for her family's permanent residency, but says her pending application won't stop their deportation, which is why they are pleading with government officials to step in.
We are asking the government across the board to lift the deportations. They already are here. They are taxpayers. They are people who are contributing to the society.
If the deportation is not stopped, they fear Wonyeki and her family may be exposed to danger back in Africa. Raheem Ladani, CTV News, Toronto.
Now to the latest in Gaza, where Palestinians gather and search for food as a growing humanitarian crisis ravages the war-torn enclave. More food and aid has been making its way into the Gaza Strip after Israel loosened restrictions. The United Arab Emirates and Jordan have been airdropping aid and supplies. Canadian aid is also being airdropped with the help of the Jordanian military. Israel's aid restrictions have drawn international condemnation as hunger experts say a famine is now unfolding in Gaza. In the U.S., the search continues for a man suspected of fatally shooting 4 people at a Montana bar Friday morning. Officials today offered a $7,500 reward for any information on the suspect, Michael Paul Brown. They say he's armed, very dangerous, and may return to Anaconda, the town where the bar is located. And a Russian volcano is now erupting for the first time in 600 years. Lava has been flowing down the sides of the 1,800-meter-tall volcano for a distance of nearly 3 kilometers. This eruption comes after local officials reported a magnitude 6.8 earthquake. A major change to the cost of travel in Atlantic Canada was introduced just in time for the long weekend. Lower fares on ferries and reduced tolls on the Confederation Bridge, and it appears people are taking full advantage of the new prices. CTV's Sarah Plowman on how it's already helping tourists and local businesses.
Long weekends bring long lines to the ferry between New Brunswick and Nova Scotia. Some planned this route, others were lured last minute by lower fares. Ottawa slashed ferry routes in half for federally supported ferries in Atlantic Canada.
This is going to save me 12 hours of driving round trip.
I think it's amazing. Should have been done long ago.
Before the fares dropped, one way for one person in one vehicle on this ferry would have cost $181. That's now cut in half. The bridge toll to leave PEI also dropped to $20, down from $50. This diner owner near the bridge in New Brunswick hopes to benefit.
We have a lot of people in the winter, regulars, but they only come across once a month. It should be more now.
While the trucking industry applauds the moves, they're also disappointed trucks traveling to and from Newfoundland won't see a 50% drop in rates like the other ferry routes. Their freight rates will be frozen, though.
It's a huge cost for carriers. The Marine Atlantic service is a huge cost.
British Columbia's premier has demanded fair treatment and for Ottawa to up the federal subsidy for ferry users in BC. The Canada Ferry Association notes there's a key difference between ferries in BC and Atlantic Canada.
The ferries where the fares were reduced are owned by the federal government, operated under contract with the federal government.
Still, he hopes Ottawa will now look at other ferry operations to see what can be done.
Infrastructure funding is going to be needed.
Back at the ferry to Nova Scotia, Rexana Keats will walk on and return today.
It's actually now cheaper than to go to Fredericton on a day trip on the bus.
One way to save and spend some of the long weekend. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, St. John.
Coming up, Summer McIntosh dominates at the World Championships.
It's the most impressive showing of any Canadian woman athlete.
How Canada's swim star is putting the focus on the nation's public pool shortage. Plus, saying goodbye to a popular 80s icon. Toronto teen Summer McIntosh made a major splash at Worlds this weekend, becoming the second woman in history to win 4 golds at a single championships. While Canada looks to celebrate the swimmer's success, it's also drawing attention to whether there are enough pools to support more young athletes looking to dive into the fast lane. CTV's Canmore reports.
This is a summer to remember.
This is Canadian swimming history being made.
Summer McIntosh does it again.
Toronto's Summer McIntosh breaking her own championship record to win her 4th gold medal at the World Aquatic Championships in Singapore.
Summer McIntosh with a big lead.
With her supporters cheering her on half a world away.
It's the most impressive showing of any Canadian woman athlete.
And inspiring a new generation of swimmers across Canada.
I want to be a swimmer because it's my favorite hobby.
Daniela Rashad hoping to take the leap into professional swimming. For her, there's just one problem.
I wish we had an indoor pool in our building.
So you're not getting enough pool time.
Yeah.
Even now, swim clubs and sports groups across the country are highlighting a shortage of pools and facilities to train athletes to help them become the next Summer McIntosh.
I would say we're in the middle of an infrastructure crisis when it comes to pools.
Across Canada, there are a total of 70 indoor pools that are 50 meters. Although they're Olympic-sized in length, many don't have the 10 lanes Olympic pools require, and more than half were built over 25 years ago. In Vancouver, one of only 2 Olympic-sized pools in the city has been falling apart. So the city's park board has made plans to replace it, but with a pool half its size, citing financial issues.
Not even at the competitive level, but at the learning to swim level, there just simply isn't enough space in a 25-meter pool to provide adequate programming.
Swimming Canada hoping to rally all levels of government to the cause to create more swimming facilities, not just for athletes, but for all Canadians to avoid drowning deaths.
The only way you're going to help alleviate that is have more lifeguards, have more learn to swim.
Believing it could not only save lives,
Summer McIntosh,
but perhaps bring in a new wave of Canadian gold medal swimmers. Kamal Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
Popular 1980s actor Lonie Anderson of the hit TV series WKRP in Cincinnati has died.
Any calls?
No.
Messages?
Nope.
Mail?
None.
Okay. How about lunch?
No lunch either.
Dinner?
Busy.
Okay. How about later at my place?
You're married, Herb.
According to her publicist, Anderson passed away at a Los Angeles hospital after battling a prolonged illness. She earned 2 Emmy Awards and 3 Golden Globe nominations for her role as the savvy receptionist on 4 seasons of the sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati. Anderson went on to appear in dozens of movies, including the 1983 film Stroker Ace, where she met and married Burt Reynolds, who she would later divorce in the mid-90s. Lonie Anderson was 79 years old. Still ahead, rising safety concerns in Alberta. Why people in this mountain town are being offered cash to help protect themselves and wildlife. Fruit trees can provide a great source of food, but in one Alberta mountain town, they also pose a major problem for people and wildlife. Canmore is encouraging community members to remove food sources like crabapple trees using funding from the G7 summit. Here's CTV's Kathy Lee on the program trying to keep everyone safe.
Nestled in nature's embrace is Canmore. People in this town don't just live near wildlife in the Rockies, they share their space with it. Meaning, while these crabapple trees add beauty and charm, they can turn neighborhoods into a bear's favorite dining spot.
In this area here.
Which is why Trevor Clark's family got rid of theirs years ago.
Anything we can do to avoid having human-wildlife conflict is important.
Trevor's family took out their tree themselves, but the town of Canmore has had a fruit tree removal incentive program in place since 2019 to encourage people living here to remove their fruit trees, covering up to $500 for the cost of removal. And now the program is being expanded.
With the G7 grant, we are now also able to provide up to $500 of the replacement cost. The problem is that there's a lot of fruit trees to be removed.
According to Alberta Parks data from 2023, Canmore has more than 2,500 fruit trees and crabapple trees marked by a purple dot, a tempting attractant for bears. Just last year, Banff's famous grizzly bear, the Boss, went on a feeding frenzy in Canmore, munching on some crab apples. And while it may be fascinating to watch a bear feast so close up, the outcome might not always be good for the animal.
Last year, about this time of year in mid-August, a black bear had to be euthanized because it had totally lost its fear of humans and was just picking out on crabapple trees. That's a shame, and we don't want that to happen.
Clark agrees, saying removing their tree, a small price to pay.
You kind of got to make concessions for the whole population
to ensure humans maintain harmony with the creatures that also call the mountains home. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Canmore.
Still ahead, a major boost for Saskatchewan. How a lyrical shout out from one of the biggest pop stars has made the province go viral. American pop star Chappell Roan is creating quite the buzz in Saskatchewan. CTV's Alison Bamford on the high hopes this breakup ballad will help the province.
Not everyone knows where it is or even how to pronounce it.
It's not really a well-known place.
So when American pop singer Chappell Roan sang about moving to Saskatchewan following a breakup in her newest single, fans here couldn't believe it.
I thought it was cool because I love Chappell Roan so much. I kind of just thought that it was crazy. I'm moving to Saskatchewan.
Chappell first performed the song titled The Subway live last summer, but the lyrics gained traction late last month when this teaser video produced by a Regina-based company went viral.
We really wanted to show off Saskatchewan and make sure that we find and get footage that we feel like represents our province.
Google searches for Saskatchewan are up and more people are mentioning the province on social media. Trends tourism Saskatchewan is hoping to capitalize on.
We don't know if it's going to translate into more visitation, but anything that brings more profile and attention to the province is always a good thing.
The queer singer is also getting a warm welcome from members of Saskatchewan's 2S LGBTQ+ community. The province's first openly gay MLA penned a letter to Chappell's team pitching a collaboration on an act of joyful queer resistance in the province that offers an unapologetic middle finger to bigotry.
We want to see queer and trans youth affirmed and supported in schools, and I think Chappell's voice might be able to lend a little bit of weight behind that.
And there's hope the singer might take up the offer to at least visit the province, saying this in an interview with celebrity journalist Nardwar in December.
I can't sing a song about Saskatchewan and not go there and play a show.
There are no Canadian tour dates yet, but fans hope it's a promise she keeps. Alison Bamford, CTV News, Saskatoon.
That's a catchy tune. That is our show for this Sunday night. I'm Heather Butts for all of us at CTV National News. Thank you for watching. Good night, and I'll see you again tomorrow.